Mentors, helping people change is a big part of what you need to learn how to do. So when they come to a class or they sit down with you, they know they want to be in a better place. They know that they want to be healthier, or they might have a specific issue, but they know they want to improve their marriage satisfaction. But when you kind of get to the next level, they might not be aware of what they're doing that is hurting their relationship. They just know that it's not working. And so they might not have bought in to the need to change some of their behaviors. So think about how you make a decision. I think everybody does this. I think you weigh the pros and the cons of changing. And what's the cost versus what am I going to get out of it? What's the benefit to me? I know that I certainly do. When I was young and poor, I had a clunky car. And I was first married, and I told my wife, hey, look, we can get by in this car a little bit more, because I knew that if I bought a better car, it would cost me money. I'd probably have to take out a loan. But we could get by on this junky car for a little while longer. And I know that we even broke down one time on the freeway. And it's like, well, that's kind of the price we have to pay, but we can get by with this car a little bit. So we had to call a tow truck. We'll make it work. And then my son was born, and suddenly the thought of breaking down in the winter on the freeway and having to wait in a cold car for a tow truck did not sound so appealing anymore, and reliability was much higher in my mind. So the benefit, the reliability, became much more important to me than the cost, and we went out and bought a more reliable car. So I think for behavioral change, we go through the exact same process, and we think through what the pros and cons are. And maybe it's not, obvious, but we think through what the benefits are that we're going to get out of it. What's the value to me if I make a change versus what is it going to cost? So let's say you want to lose weight, same thing. What's the value to you of losing weight? Well, you're going to look better, you're going to feel better, you're going to be healthier. What's the cost? Well, I'm going to need to diet, and I'm going to need to exercise. And we often don't lose weight because the diet and exercise looks bigger than the need to look good, feel good. And it's when the cost seems to get smaller than the benefit that we're going to get, we will finally decide to change our behavior. True of any kind of behavioral change. Now, I've been in sales for over 30 years, and I have been sales management, so I've had a lot of training in how to help people through a decision process. And this is actually the same thing as a biblical process of change or a psychological process for change. So let me explain this. And I do have another post on the process of change. So if you haven't seen that, look at that. We start out totally unaware that we have a problem. And if someone suggests a solution, we go, I don't need to change, I don't have a problem. And then there's a middle part where somewhere we go through a recognition of needs, and we go, yes, I have a problem, but it's not a big enough problem that I'm going to expend any time or energy to be able to solve. And we can live in that part for quite a while. And so if someone asks, do you have a problem? You go, yeah, I have a problem, but that doesn't mean you're going to change anything. Okay, you hear me there? And then you finally get to a point where the problem gets big enough and you go, you know what? I got a big problem. I need a solution. I need to change. I'm willing to spend money. I'm willing to spend time and energy and effort to make the change. Do you hear that process? Unaware, I got a problem, but I'm not changing. I got a problem, big enough problem, I want to do something about it. That's what the process of change is all about. That's where you need to work with people. How do they get out of that middle phase of I got a problem, but I don't need to change, and to get into the last phase of I want to change? So research shows that if you ask consequence questions and help people to think through the impact, they are going to be much more likely to commit to it themselves. And the important part isn't that you know they need to change. The important part is that they recognize that they need to change. And so they need to own it. And they need to say, I need to change because I want to. You can help to be able to facilitate that by asking consequence questions. And I'm going to get into that in further posts.